planet Ardon was quiet that morning. Lieutenant Alex Carter walked with Sergeant Lisa Hunter across the dusty plains. The sky was red with clouds of iron dust, and the settlements were small but organized. Humans had started to build here only a few years ago, but everyone believed they were safe. They were wrong. Alex checked his scanner and frowned. "Something is moving out there," he said. Lisa looked at the readings, and her face went pale. The energy spikes were too high to be normal. They'd trained for attacks, but not for this. The reports had been rumors until now. Humans called them Deathworlders. The soldiers who survived the deadliest planets, who followed no rules, and who struck without warning. Lisa tightened her grip on her rifle. "We should report back. Could be nothing," she said. Alex shook his head. "Can't take that risk. Let's move closer and see." As they walked toward the source of the readings, a small group of civilians appeared. They were repairing a transport unit and did not notice the approaching danger. Alex motioned for Lisa to stay quiet. He crouched behind a rock and observed the group. Then he saw movement in the distance. Shadows, fast and silent. Suddenly, the first human fell. The attack was quick and brutal. The Deathworlders did not follow the rules of engagement. They struck and disappeared, leaving terror behind. Alex shouted to the civilians, "Get down!" and they scattered. Lisa fired her rifle, but her bullets missed the moving shapes. Alex pulled out a grenade and threw it to create smoke, covering their retreat. They ran toward the settlement, their hearts pounding. This was not a simple skirmish. These Deathworlders were different. More dangerous than anything they had faced before. At the settlement, Queen Claire Williams had already been informed. She watched from the command center as scouts brought in the wounded. The humans had lost several men, but they were alive. The Queen's face was calm, but her mind raced. She called for a council meeting. Generals and advisors crowded the room, their expressions serious. They knew that the Deathworlders were not normal humans. They were the toughest, trained to survive in the worst conditions, and they broke all rules of war. Queen Claire spoke with firm authority. "We cannot underestimate them. They do not fight like ordinary soldiers. They will not follow our rules, and they will not stop until we are gone. We must prepare." She turned to Alex and Lisa, who had arrived at the command center. "You two have seen them? We need every detail. What did you notice?" Alex explained the attack, how quick and precise it was. Lisa added, how the Deathworlders seemed to know exactly where to strike. The council nodded. They realized that human tactics alone would not be enough. Survival meant adapting, thinking faster, and fighting smarter. Queen Claire looked at the map. "We will not retreat. We will face them and protect our people. We will prepare for the first strike, and we will learn from it. Humanity survives because we are clever, we are brave, and we do not give up." The council dispersed to organize defenses. Alex and Lisa were assigned to lead reconnaissance squads. Civilians were trained to fight if necessary. Engineers worked on new weapons. The Queen moved to the front lines, showing that leadership meant standing with the people, not hiding behind walls. As night fell over Arden, the red sky turned darker. Shadows moved in the distance, silent but watching. The Deathworlders were coming back, and this time humans knew they could not wait. The first part of the fight was over, but the war had only begun. Every human on Arden felt the fear, but they also felt determination. They would not be broken. They would fight and they would survive. Queen Claire Williams paced in the council room. The maps of Arden were spread on the table. Generals and advisors surrounded her. Reports from scouts showed small groups of Deathworlders moving quickly through the plains. Civilians were scared. The Queen knew that fear could spread faster than an enemy. Alex Carter and Lisa Hunter entered with Ryan Blake and Ella Ford. The four had seen the Deathworlders in action. They reported every detail of the first attack. Ryan spoke of the speed and silence. Ella described how their targets were always precise and deadly. The council listened carefully. This was not a normal human enemy. Queen Claire turned to her generals. "We cannot wait for them to attack again. We must strike first. But we have to be smart. We cannot fight them with old tactics." The generals nodded. Some wanted to send all troops at once, but the Queen shook her head. She had learned that brute force alone would not win this war. Alex suggested a reconnaissance strike. "We can send a small squad to observe them closely. We need to understand their methods before we attack fully. Lisa added, we can use the terrain to our advantage. The plains have rocks and ravines. We can trap them if we know their patterns, the Queen agreed. She trusted the soldiers because they had seen the enemy up close. Meanwhile, engineers and scientists worked on new weapons. Ella joined them. She tested modified rifles that could fire faster and explosives that were small but powerful. She worked through the night. The Queen watched from the command center. Claire believed that leadership meant standing with people, guiding them, not hiding. The Queen also held a meeting with civilians. She explained that everyone must prepare for danger. The settlers would learn to defend themselves. They trained in small groups, learning to aim and run, to hide and fight. Fear was natural, but courage was stronger. By dawn, the reconnaissance squad was ready. Alex, Lisa, Ryan, and Ella moved out silently. The red sky of Arden glowed faintly. They hid in rocks and valleys, watching Deathworlders from a distance. The enemy was calm, but deadly. Every movement was calculated. The humans realized that knowledge was the first step to victory. Queen Claire received updates through the communicator. She noted every observation, adjusting strategies. She decided to lead part of the defenses personally. This inspired the humans. Soldiers and civilians alike felt that their queen was not separate from them. She fought for survival as they did. Suddenly, the reconnaissance squad spotted a small Deathworlder group attacking a supply outpost. Alex ordered a careful approach. Lisa took position on higher ground. Ryan and Ella set traps around the enemy. The fight was sudden and brutal. Bullets flew, grenades exploded, and humans used clever tactics to confuse the enemy. A few Deathworlders retreated, surprised by human ingenuity. After the fight, the squad regrouped and reported back. Queen Claire studied the information carefully. She saw patterns in the enemy movement. She knew that these Deathworlders could not be defeated with strength alone. Humans had to adapt to think ahead and to use their brains as much as their arms. The council continued planning. Humans worked through the night. Their weapons were improved, defenses strengthened, and new strategies prepared. Queen Claire walked among the people, encouraging them. She spoke about courage, unity, and survival. The Deathworlders were strong, but humans had intelligence, bravery, and the will to fight. As night fell again on Arden, the Red Plains were quiet. Humans were ready. Scouts watched the horizon. Alex and Lisa checked their weapons. Ryan and Ella finished modifications. Everyone knew the enemy would strike again. But humans were no longer just waiting. They were prepared. They would face the Deathworlders and prove that humanity could survive anything. Alex Carter, Lisa Hunter, Ryan Blake, and Ella Ford moved quietly through the rocky valleys. The red plains of Arden stretched around them. The reconnaissance mission had taught them much, but the real fight was coming. Humans had to be clever and fast. The Deathworlders did not follow rules and did not show mercy. The squad spotted a small group of Deathworlders near an abandoned supply station. Alex whispered, "Stay low and watch. They are testing the area." Lisa nodded and adjusted her rifle. Ryan checked a small explosive device, and Ella readied her new rifle modifications. Every move had to be precise. The humans waited for the right moment. Suddenly, the Deathworlders moved toward the station. Alex gave a signal. Lisa fired a warning shot, drawing them into the trap. Ryan activated the explosive, creating smoke and confusion. Ella fired from a distance, hitting a Deathworlder before they could respond. The enemy was strong, but humans were smarter. The fight was brutal. Deathworlders rushed forward, breaking through traps with force. Alex fought hand to hand, knocking one down with a swift punch. Lisa used her agility to evade attacks and fire accurately. Ryan and Ella supported from a distance, using every tool at their disposal. Every human had to act fast and think faster. The squad noticed that Deathworlders seemed to anticipate some moves, but humans adapted. They changed positions, used the terrain, and forced the enemy into mistakes. One Deathworlder was trapped in a ravine while another fell into a hidden pit. The humans were not just fighting, they were outsmarting. During the fight, Alex noticed a small group of civilians caught near the station, shouted for Lisa and Ella to cover him. They moved quickly, shielding the civilians and leading them to safety. Courage and quick thinking saved lives. The humans realized that every person mattered, and that teamwork was more important than strength alone. After the fight, the squad regrouped on a high ridge. They counted losses and checked weapons. Only minor injuries occurred, but the lesson was clear. Deathworlders were deadly, but humans could fight back. They could survive if they worked together and adapted. Queen Claire received the report. She praised the squad for their bravery and intelligence. She instructed engineers to improve weapons based on observations. She told commanders to train more squads for fast, flexible attacks. Humans could not rely on numbers alone. They had to use brains and courage. Alex and Lisa discussed strategies late into the night. They marked points on a map. Noting where traps worked and where Deathworlders showed weakness, Ryan and Ella experimented with new gadgets. The team felt a growing confidence. Humans could fight Deathworlders and even win small victories. Meanwhile, the settlement was busy preparing defenses. Barricades were built, watch posts established, and civilians learned basic combat skills. The Queen moved among them, showing leadership and inspiring confidence. Humans felt that their survival depended on courage, unity, and cleverness. As night fell on Arden, the squad returned to the settlement. The Red Plains were quiet, but danger was always present. Humans had survived their first real counterattack. The fight had been intense and showed that Deathworlders were strong and smart. But humans were not weak. They had courage, intelligence, and the will to survive. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but humans were ready to face them and fight for their world. The humans gathered in the command center at the settlement. Queen Claire Williams watched the Red Plains through a wide window. REPORTS had come in from scouts and the reconnaissance squad. Deathworlders had attacked small supply routes and tested human defenses. Humans had survived, but they needed better strategies. Alex Carter, Lisa Hunter, Ryan Blake, and Ella Ford joined the Queen. They shared what they had learned from the last fights. Alex explained the enemy's speed and precision. Lisa described their ability to anticipate human moves. Ryan and Ella suggested ways to use the terrain and new weapons to trap them. The Queen listened carefully and made decisions. Engineers worked on new weapons and equipment. Ella tested grenades that could block paths and rifles that fired faster. Ryan set up traps in rocky valleys to control enemy movement. Humans were learning to adapt quickly. The Deathworlders were strong and smart, but humans had brains and courage. The Queen held a meeting with civilian leaders. She told them to organize and train. Civilians practiced hiding, shooting, and running. They learned that every small action could save lives. Fear was present, but courage and preparation grew stronger. Humans needed to be ready for anything. Alex and Lisa led small squads to scout the plains. They moved carefully, noting enemy positions and signs. The Deathworlders were silent, but humans were learning their patterns. One squad discovered that Deathworlders avoided traps set in open areas, but could be drawn into valleys and rocks. Humans took note of every detail. One day, the scouts spotted a small group of Deathworlders near a water source. Alex signaled the team to prepare an ambush. Lisa and Ryan set up traps, while Ella covered from high ground. The fight started when the Deathworlders moved into the trap. Explosions went off, smoke filled the air, and bullets flew. Humans used strategy and terrain to their advantage. Few Deathworlders were caught, showing that clever planning worked. After the battle, humans treated the wounded and recovered supplies. Queen Claire praised the squad. She reminded everyone that these victories were small, but important. Humans learned and adapted faster than Deathworlders expected. Every fight made them stronger and smarter. The command center continued to plan. New maps showed enemy movements, and strategies were updated. Alex and Lisa studied the maps late into the night. They noted areas where Deathworlders were weak and where traps worked best. Ryan and Ella prepared new devices to improve future attacks. Every human was working together, using intelligence and courage to survive. As night fell, the Red Plains grew dark. Shadows moved in the distance, but humans were ready. Scouts were watching, soldiers patrolled, and civilians were prepared. Queen Claire moved among the people, speaking of courage and unity. Humans were no longer just defending. They were planning, adapting, and learning to fight back with every step. The fight was far from over. Deathworlders were dangerous and unpredictable. Humans knew that, but they also knew that their strength lay in teamwork, intelligence, and determination. Every person had a role, and together they could face any enemy. Arden was not lost. Humans were ready to take the next step and fight for their survival. Deathworlders launched an unexpected strike at human headquarters early in the morning. Alarms blared through the settlement. Soldiers rushed to their stations. Civilians took cover behind barricades. Queen Claire Williams quickly assessed the situation and moved to coordinate defenses. Alex Carter, Lisa Hunter, Ryan Blake, and Ella Ford were already at the front lines. The enemy was fast and precise. They attacked in small groups, avoiding traps and aiming to strike fear. Alex shouted commands, organizing squads to cover entrances. Lisa took a high vantage point, firing on approaching Deathworlders. Ryan deployed small explosives to block paths and confuse the enemy. Ella used her modified rifles to hit targets at a distance. The humans fought hard and smart. The battle was brutal. Deathworlders broke through some barricades, but humans responded quickly. Civilians helped move supplies and aid the wounded. The Queen inspired everyone, walking among soldiers and shouting orders. Her courage encouraged the people to keep fighting. No one ran. Everyone stood their ground. Alex and Lisa noticed a small squad of Deathworlders trying to flank the main gate. They quickly moved to intercept. Hand-to-hand combat followed. Alex punched and dodged with speed, while Lisa used agility and accurate shots. The squad trapped the enemy in a narrow alley, cutting off their escape. Humans had learned to think ahead and use every advantage of the terrain. Ryan and Ella discovered that some Deathworlders reacted strongly to loud noises and bright lights. They set up flash devices and sound traps near key positions. When Deathworlders approached, the devices went off, creating confusion and giving humans the chance to attack. Ingenuity became their weapon. Queen Claire coordinated communication between squads. She ensured no one was left alone. Humans moved in unison, covering each other. Civilians became helpers, bringing water, ammunition, and first aid. Every person had a role, and every role mattered. Humans were showing that teamwork and courage could match raw strength. The battle lasted hours. Deathworlders retreated in some areas, but attacked in others. Humans adapted constantly. Alex led a counterattack on the enemy's main group. Lisa provided cover, and Ryan and Ella used new traps to block paths. Slowly, the Deathworlders began to fall back. Humans had turned the fight by thinking faster and acting together. After the battle, humans treated the wounded and repaired damage. Queen Claire gathered everyone. She praised bravery, intelligence, and determination. She reminded humans that they had survived a fierce attack because they were united, clever, and strong. Alex and Lisa studied the battlefield. They saw how humans could use terrain, traps, and coordination to win. Ryan and Ella noted which weapons and devices were most effective. Plans were made for future defenses. Humans were learning and improving with each encounter. The sun set over Ardon, coloring the Red Plains dark. The Deathworlders had tested human defenses, but humans had survived. Every person, soldier and civilian alike, had played a part. Humans had proven that courage, intelligence, and teamwork were more powerful than raw strength. The fight would continue, but humans were ready, prepared, and determined to protect their world. The next morning, humans prepared for another encounter. Queen Claire Williams called the council and soldiers. Every squad knew the Deathworlders would return. Humans had learned from previous fights and had new strategies ready. Alex Carter, Lisa Hunter, Ryan Blake, and Ella Ford checked their weapons and traps. Preparation was key. Scouts reported Deathworlders approaching from the north. The humans split into squads to cover different zones. Alex led one squad into rocky terrain. Lisa took the high ground with snipers. Ryan set traps along likely enemy paths, and Ella used long-range firepower. Coordination and timing were crucial. The Deathworlders arrived fast, attacking in multiple directions. Humans waited and observed. Alex signaled his squad to move as the first group of Deathworlders entered the trap zones. Ryan detonated explosives, blocking escape routes. Lisa fired from above, taking down anyone who tried to climb hills. Ella hit targets with modified rifles, Humans used brains and planning to fight efficiently. The battle turned as humans used their new tactics. Deathworlders tried to flank, but humans anticipated moves. Alex led a counterattack, catching the enemy off guard. Lisa provided cover, Ryan set more traps, and Ella supported from a distance. Teamwork and communication allowed humans to control the battlefield. Queen Claire moved along the front lines, encouraging soldiers and civilians helping in defense. Her presence boosted morale. Civilians carried supplies, tended to the wounded, and supported soldiers. Humans realized that every person mattered, not just fighters. Courage and unity became their strongest weapons. A group of Deathworlders tried to break through a supply zone. Alex and his squad intercepted them. Hand-to-hand combat followed. Alex punched and dodged with speed. Lisa fired accurately while moving. Ryan used small gadgets to disable enemies, and Ella covered from distance. Humans trapped the enemy in narrow passages and forced them to retreat. As the fight continued, humans discovered new patterns. Deathworlders reacted to bright lights and loud sounds. Ryan and Ella used this to their advantage, creating confusion and disarray. Humans pushed forward, taking control of key areas. The tide of battle was changing. Humans were adapting faster than the enemy expected. After hours of fighting, the Deathworlders began to retreat. Humans held their ground, secured the settlement, and treated the wounded. Queen Claire gathered all squads and praised them. Humans had turned the tide through strategy, teamwork, and courage. Every victory, small or large, strengthened their confidence. Alex and Lisa studied the battlefield, noting enemy weaknesses. Ryan and Ella evaluated weapon effectiveness and traps. The humans learned quickly and prepared for the next challenge. The Queen emphasized that survival depended on intelligence, courage, and unity. Humans were strong together. As night fell, the red plains of Arden were calm. Humans knew the Deathworlders would return, but they were ready. Soldiers and civilians were trained and prepared. Humans had survived attacks, adapted, and learned. Every person knew that courage and smart planning could defeat even the strongest enemy. Tomorrow would bring new battles, but humans were ready, united, and determined to protect their world. The sun rose over Arden, casting red light over the plains. Humans were ready. Queen Claire Williams stood on the command platform, observing the settlement and the surrounding hills. Alex Carter, Lisa Hunter, Ryan Blake, and Ella Ford prepared their squads. The final battle with the Deathworlders was about to begin. Scouts reported the enemy advancing from multiple directions. Humans split into squads to cover all approaches. Alex led one group into rocky valleys. Lisa commanded snipers on high ground. Ryan set traps along key paths, and Ella supported with long-range firepower. Communication and coordination were perfect. The Deathworlders struck suddenly, aiming to overwhelm the defenses. Humans held their positions. Alex signaled his squad to engage, and Ryan triggered explosives that blocked paths and created confusion. Lisa fired from above, taking down enemies trying to climb hills. Ella hit targets from distance. Humans used brains, strategy, and speed to fight effectively. The battle became fierce. Deathworlders tried to flank and break human lines. Alex and Lisa led a counterattack, forcing enemies into traps and narrow passages. Hand-to-hand combat broke out, and humans fought with determination. Every move was calculated, every action mattered. Humans had learned from all previous fights and were ready. Queen Claire moved among the troops, inspiring them. Civilians helped with supplies, water, and first aid. Humans realized that everyone had a role in survival. Courage and unity became their greatest weapons. Humans did not just fight to win, they fought to protect each other and their home. Ryan and Ella discovered that Deathworlders reacted strongly to bright lights and loud noises. They deployed devices to exploit this weakness. The enemy became confused, giving humans an advantage. Alex led squads to attack strategically, trapping groups and cutting off escape routes. Lisa provided cover, and Ella fired at key targets. Humans were slowly gaining control. The Deathworlders, powerful and fast, began to retreat in some areas. Humans held their ground, ensuring no enemy could regroup. Every squad worked together, covering each other and securing the settlement. The Red Plains were filled with courage, strategy, and determination. After hours of intense fighting, humans emerged victorious. The Deathworlders were forced to retreat completely. Queen Claire gathered her people and praised them for bravery, intelligence, and teamwork. Soldiers and civilians alike had played important roles. Humans had proven that unity, strategy, and courage could overcome the strongest enemy. Alex, Lisa, Ryan, and Ella checked the battlefield, noting enemy weaknesses and how their tactics succeeded. Engineers repaired weapons and improved traps. Humans learned quickly and prepared for future threats. Queen Claire reminded everyone that survival depended on intelligence, courage, and unity. As night fell on Arden, the Red Plains became calm. Humans had defended their home and survived the deadliest enemy. Every person, soldier and civilian, knew the value of courage and smart planning. The Deathworlders might return, but humans were ready, united, and determined. They had won this battle and proved that humanity could survive anything.